name is Joe Jackson, and if, like me, you absolutely love music, you must remember the first song that maybe made you feel like you could fly. And if you're a musician, maybe made you feel that you must make music, or in my case, led to a lifetime of writing about music, or being a broadcaster, podcaster, whatever. I certainly have never forgotten the Saturday afternoon when I was at the Flicks watching G.I. Blues starring Elvis Presley, in whom I had no interest. But then he gestured for all of us kids, it seemed to me, to sing along with Wooden Heart. And I did. And the louder I sang, the more I felt like I was floating into outer space. Something similar happened a few months later when my father bought for me, for my 10th birthday, a 1950s Elvis hit called I Need Your Love Tonight. I placed it on the turntable, set the needle down, the music started, and the shock I got made me feel I may as well have stuck my finger wet into the electricity socket on the wall. That's when I discovered what I knew was called real rock and roll. And that was the moment my life was changed utterly. All of which is maybe a long way of my explaining why, when I presented a radio program called Under the Influence for the first decade of the 21st century, I kicked off each show by asking a musician if they could recall a similar moment that maybe even led to an epiphany. So let's hear from the master tapes of that series one such story. By the way, if you want to know how you can hear the full show, check joejacksoninterviewer.com.
Mary Black, welcome to Under the Influence. And one of the first singers you were ever influenced by was Joni Mitchell, whose husband of 11 years, Larry Klein, produced one of your later albums. But the first song was, I believe, Big Yellow Taxi.
That was the first time I ever heard this girl called Joni Mitchell. What happened was, I knew there was a friend of mine in my class. I was about 15, I would say, who was big into music and kind of lived in one of the big houses in Ranelagh. We lived down in sort of an old broken down house in Charlemont Street. So she had all the albums and I would sort of pick her brains on what was happening and what was going on. And after school one day she says, you have to hear this. You just have to hear this song. And she had Big Yellow Taxi. And we went into her little bedroom and I heard this voice and it completely blew me away. And that was the start. I mean, you know, apart from the fact that she's just an amazing singer, I mean, the writing and the lyrics and the melody and just everything about it was just most incredible, you know.
Was it a 45 she had, or would it have been Ladies of the Canyon, the vinyl album?
No, I think it was the vinyl album she had.
Was it the album?
Her older brother.
That was around 1970.
Yeah,
you were 15.
That'd be exactly right, 15.
Right.
Yeah.
So she was on the ball, because it was only out a couple of months.
She was very much on the ball. She had an older brother who, there was only just the two of them, and they were kind of... They came from sort of for a more privileged background, let's say.
Right, okay.
They had the record player, the whole lot. We were sort of struggling with a little sort of windy, uppy
the
gramophone and a reel-to-reel tape recorder that we just used to take stuff from the radio whenever we got the chance, you know, record stuff from the radio.
So did you record the album then?
I did. I managed to get a copy of it and just loved it.
Okay, so let's hear Joni's Big Yellow Taxi. Joni showing off her range there at the end. You enjoyed that all over again, didn't you?
And I always enjoyed, you know. And even the audacity for her to throw in the little laugh at the end, you know. I mean, that was something that you'd never dream of doing back then, normally, right. You know. Yeah,
we were also saying, listening to it, that you got a sense of her root in kind of pop culture, in pop songs of the 50s with those fabulous backing vocals and just the energy. It's a very pop song.
Yeah.
You know, so you would have liked that too, because growing up, I know you and your mom used to sing stuff like Moon River, and pop songs were a huge part of
the pop songs of the day would have been part of what we were sort of listened to and grew up with.
This is before 15.
Yeah, but I feel that this particular song, it kind of jumped out of the radio as being completely different to anything I'd heard before that. Right, you know, I mean, and of course the fact that she was a female singer, I would always be drawn to female singers and always will. You know, I feel that I'm always listening out for that female voice that's doing something different, you know.
All right.
Joe Jackson here. I hope you enjoyed that fragment from my radio series Under the Influence. If you want to hear more, as I said, check out my website, joejacksoninterviewer.com.